We are a culmination of all of our experiences. So the past creates lenses that we see the world through, and that's fine. That's good. But our past doesn't have to define us because people change. Everybody can change. If I didn't think everybody could change, I'd be an idiot for doing this job.
Hey, Jamie, how you doing today?
I am well. Mark, how are you, my friend?
Good. And I realized we've had a few of these conversations that I've never formally introduced you. And I think this would be a good time to talk about you a little bit and talk about what you do in your book. So for all the viewers who've seen Jamie in many, many videos, hopefully, Jamie Morgan is a certified professional counselor and therapist, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Right. Licensed professional counselor.
Licensed. I'm sorry. I said certified. I got that all wrong. But in addition to that, what I'd like to touch on about Jamie is he wrote a book a while back, and I have a copy here, and I find it interesting. The reason I want to talk about this is because I'm not a reader. And a lot of people will gasp at the idea that I'm not a reader, but I don't read a whole lot. Yet when I got Jamie's book, I read it, and within minutes, I was really enthralled in it. And I read it all in one setting. And as you can see, anyone who paid attention there, I have all kinds of places I took notes because I really liked a lot of the things Jamie had to say. Not only did I add these little sticky areas, but I even marked in the book in the areas I thought were kind of important with highlighters. So I want to talk a bit about your book and maybe let you expand upon it without me trying to talk about it for you. So what do you think, in a nutshell, your book is about for viewers? And without the answer being everybody, who do you think your book is a good read for?
Well, since you said I can't say everybody,
right?
I'll say basically people who aren't living their life intentionally. Okay? Because that's really what it boils down to. What's the front of the book say?
It's a victim crossed out and master of circumstance.
What's it say right underneath it?
It says, destroying the 7 illusions that keep you from living life intentionally.
Yeah, that's what the book is about. And what I really did, so being a really good friend of mine, her name is April Cipriano. Okay, she's a international business coach, life coach type thing, right? So I met her through Landmark Education, and we sat down one day because I had just had this idea. I had this idea of like, I want to write a book because I just want to help people. I want people to live a fulfilled life. At the end of the day, that's all I really care about. And I know that, it's selfless, but that's just where I'm at. That's who I am. Right. So
I think we align well on that, just not to cut you off. But we talked about that before, and I want the viewers to actually realize that. And that's why I really appreciate conversations with Jamie, because he is often just trying to help others, is all he's trying to do. And I think he has a lot to provide. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. It's all right. So when I sat down with her, we just brainstormed, right? And in the brainstorming, it's like, so what stops people from living their, hashtag best life? But when I created the concept for this book, hashtag wasn't a thing, right? So it's like,
right.
What stops people from living their best life? So we had like one of those big Post-it note, like the giant Post-it, like the poster board poster note, Post-it notes. Put it on the table. We were at a Panera, Breadco here in St. Louis, right? We were at a Breadco, Panera, and we started brainstorming. We're writing down everything, right? Just everything that comes to your mind. Yeah, that. Okay. And what we did from this whole big Post-it note, we were able to narrow it down to basically 7 mindsets. Okay. And in those 7 mindsets, what we really discovered was those were all victim mindsets.
Okay.
Right. Now, let me get something really clear, because people say, well, I was raped. I'm a victim. Being victimized and then playing the victim in your story is 2 different things.
Okay.
Right? Things happen, and we are all victimized at some level in some way, right? But what you do after that determines whether you're playing the victim or you're being empowered and you're moving forward.
Makes sense.
Right? And that's what this book is all about. Because when it says the illusions, they are illusions. The first victim mindset that we discover and talk about in the book is blame.
See that? Right? Yep.
Well, what illusion is blame? The illusion of blame is that it's someone else's fault. This is happening to me, or I'm this way because of. Now, that's not to say you are the way you are because of a thing that happened to you. But we don't get to use that as an excuse for bad behavior any longer.
And I think for all the illusions, and if you don't mind, we can just talk. Each one's blame, power, right, is one.
So you get no. So power, so blame. When you get rid of blame, you become powerful. So blame, okay. You get power. Go ahead.
Okay, well, before we go through them, I want to say that when I read it, one thing I did like is you give, in my mind, really good examples for each one of them. So they were very relatable examples. And I think, and I don't think I'm someone who plays the victim, but I could still relate to all the examples you gave, and that's what made the book more interesting. So we have blame, and you said you get rid of blame, you get power. Then correct?
That's right.
The next one is expectation.
Yeah. So expectation is we live into a role. It's your role, right? It's well, this is how you're supposed to be. This is what a husband is, or this is what a wife is, or this is how I'm supposed to be a hockey player, or this is how I'm supposed to be as a student. And well, that's just that's just how boys are, or that, right? Like it's these expectations, but the real, like, what happens is like, well, whose expectation is that? Is it your mom's? Is it your dad's? Is it your family's? Is it always been in your family? Is it your peer group? Is it society? Like, where did that expectation come from? Because at the end of the day, it's not bad to have expectations. Those are really good. But am I living a life of someone else's making,
right,
or my own making?
Right.
And
I think to anyone who's viewing this, who does get messages from Take 2 Minutes, there's a lot of messages in Jamie's book that aligned well with messages sent by Take 2 Minutes. And it's coincidentally just two people trying to accomplish the same thing. And with regards to expectation, and I don't remember the exact message I wrote, but there's a message in Take 2 Minutes that's something along the lines of, don't let others' expectations weigh on you, meaning that don't let the expectations of someone else weigh you down. You be who you are, without trying to let their expectations burden you.
Yeah, because they can have expectations of you. That's fine, but that doesn't mean you have to go into that, right?
Right, or add stress to your life because of their expectations of you.
That's right. Right.
So after expectation, we have choice.
Yeah. Right. So choice is this idea of, okay, so this is a distinction that I learned in Landmark Education, okay? So when you step into choice, it's really stepping out of decisions, okay? Now, let's I know that sounds like, well, aren't those the same? They're not. Even if you look in Webster's dictionary, it's not the same. Okay? So here's what it looks like. A decision is based on history or information, right? So it could be facts. So like, whereas a choice is free of any other consideration. It's just that's what I want. Why? Because that's what I want.
Good.
Okay. Now, when you think about like going to buy a car, is that a choice or a decision? It's mostly a decision.
It was okay. I wasn't certain. I was debating in my head what that right answer was.
Like, yeah, what is it? Right? Like, because it really is like, man, what is that? Right? Okay. So you go get a car. right? Well, I want a yellow Porsche 911. Okay, got it. Why? If your answer is, well, because that's what I want. Why? I don't know, just that's what I want. If there's any other reason, it's a decision. Well, I like the color yellow. Okay, that's based on the past. How do you know you like the color yellow? Well, I like Porsches because they're reliable. Well, that's again based on a fact and a decision, right? Well, or here's another thing we do. Let me look at Car and Driver, see what the best rated car is to get for my family. Best rated SUV. Well, I'm going to get one of those then because that's the one I like. You following me?
The decision.
Right. That's right. Okay. We want to look, that doesn't mean that you should never make decisions. There's a lot of times that we make decisions, but there's a lot of freedom that comes from making choices as well because there's no constraints from anything else.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense. Good. Then we have next is guilt.
Yeah, boy. What do you think that is?
Guilt can be thought of as many ways. It's a feeling you get because of something possibly you did wrong or was perceived to be wrong by others.
Oh, so that is building on and a result of a lot of times expectation.
Expectations, yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm a bad person. I did something wrong. I should have known better. We play guilty a lot, right? Because you're trying to live up to something that doesn't align with who you are.
Makes sense.
Right? When we can get past that guilt, boy, we start living in peace.
Yes, and peace is part of that chapter. So that's a good segue to think of. Next one is being overwhelmed and control.
Yeah, man. So overwhelmed. Now, how is overwhelmed being a victim mindset? Well, right. A lot of times we create scenarios or put ourselves in scenarios where we manage or trying to manage too much.
Right. Makes sense.
That's really a lack of boundaries because we don't say no.
I think in today's society happens often.
Often, right? So because we don't say no, there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done that I was supposed to get done. Now I'm overwhelmed.
Makes sense.
So then when someone says something to you about it, what do? Well, what do you expect me to do? I got all this to do.
Yes.
Poor, pitiful me. Well, bro, you could have just said no. I can't ever tell you no. Oh, that's your choice. That's not my choice.
A good example too. Yes.
Right. So when we get rid of overwhelm, when we start having some better boundaries in our life, we gain control. And we feel like we're in control of our life.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? I have the freedom to say yes and no. And that's good. That's healthy.
Yes, that's a good one. And I have some examples of that, but I want to continue going. I was trying to move past that. So
we can come back. That's fine.
Yeah, we have confusion as the next one.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a really common one because how can you blame someone or be pissed at someone or upset or whatever when they just don't understand? Right? But a lot of times that's a cop-out. Well, I don't understand. Do you really not understand or do you just not want to be responsible for how it goes or the result? Because that's a lot of what it is. Because look, man, we all know that person or few people in our life that are confused about everything. And here's what it is. How many times has this happened to you? Because it happens to me a lot. Hey, I'm confused. Help me out with this. And then I'll say, well, yeah, you should blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what I thought. They don't have the confidence to trust themselves to get it done. That's the confusion part.
Okay, that makes sense.
When you decide to get past that, now you're confident.
You're building confidence.
That's right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the confusion could be, well, I guess it's just almost what we said, just reverse. It's a lack of confidence.
That's right. That's what it really boils down to.
Okay.
Right? And look, when we think about building confidence, it's little victories over and over and over, just little victories. Right. And that's how we build confidence.
Is. Yeah. And I use that example all the time in day in and day out life. Even if I'm feeling, back to one, overwhelmed because I have so much to do, little victories can help gain confidence and make me feel a sense of accomplishment.
That's right.
Get past those. It's a good one.
Like, yeah, because overwhelming. I mean, look, it's big. Okay, well, whatever. It's big. For real. Whatever. It's big. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Okay. What's the other one? How do you walk the journey of 1,000 miles? One step at a time.
One step. Yeah. One foot in front of the other.
Right. That's how you do it. Right. But that mentality, that's so powerful. Jamie, can you eat an elephant? My gosh. I mean, that's a lot of meat, but yeah, I mean, I can eat. So I can eat. And I know that it's going to take a while. Okay. Great. Let's go.
The next one is right or wrong.
Oh, man. Do we ever get stuck in right and wrong? Right? See, because here's the thing. I think a lot of what happens in life is that we really don't understand the words that we're saying. Okay? Now, where the hang up is with right and wrong is really with preference. See, what's the right way to cut the grass, Mark?
Diagonally or horizontally type options? Yes.
Well, whatever. I don't know.
Right.
What do we do when we're driving down the road? Let's say, do you weed eat first or after?
Was it eat? Is that what you asked?
Weed eat. Do you weed eat before or after?
So I do before so that the clippings from the weed eater get mulched.
Well, sure. That makes perfect sense to me. Right? And then you blow it off the concrete at the end too? No, of course you do. Yeah, that's right. What do we do when we're driving down the road and we see people cutting their grass that don't do it our way?
They're doing it wrong.
Right? We go straight to, what is wrong with them? Man, who taught that dude how to cut grass? He's doing it
obviously. Yeah, this is a good example of cutting grass, but applies to many things. When you see a spouse doing something different than how you want to, she's doing it wrong. So that's not how I do it.
Right. See, it's just your preference. Because if we're being real, dude, I could go out there in my front yard with some scissors and cut the grass. I could tie up a few goats to cut my grass.
Yes.
I could use an old-time lawnmower with the spinny wheel push mower. I could not bag it. I could bag it. I could go back and forth. I could cut it in circles. I could not blow it. I could never weed eat. If the goal is just for the grass to be shorter, there's a lot of ways to accomplish that. Just because it's your way, it's not the right way. It's just your way. And look, that's okay. You can have your way, but don't impose your way on other people.
Or set an expectation they should do it your way, at least.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and you really nailed this because I use this a lot in marriage counseling. Because it is, well, what's the right way to be a wife? What are you talking about? Well, clearly you have some expectations of what your wife should be doing. And when she doesn't meet those expectations, you get all upset. So you have a right and a wrong way to do it. But have you guys ever really even talked about that? Well, I complain. No. That's not talking. That's complaining. Have you negotiated how you're going to do it? No. All right. Last one.
The past.
Oh, boy. We Okay, so the past is important, right? Because the past is everything that we are a culmination of all of our experiences. Okay? So the past creates lenses that we see the world through. Right? And that's fine. That's good. But our past doesn't have to define us.
Right.
Because people change. Everybody can change. If I didn't think everybody could change, I'd be an idiot for doing this job. Because I would think that there's people that won't and can't are two different things.
Correct. Yes.
Right? So we got to have a right, we got to have a right view of our past. Our past is just what happened. It's nothing more. Me being upset about it doesn't change it. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't make it go away. It's still there. So I have to look at it as though life is happening for me, not to me. Right? The second I do that, my life changes and I'm not a victim to my past anymore. I'm empowered. I have freedom now. Right? And that's what the whole goal of the book is, Mark.
Good.
I want people to have freedom, man. I want people to live a life that they are just so over the moon happy with and excited about waking up every day and exciting about spending time with their spouse and kids. And it doesn't have to be any other way. Right? There's a chapter in my book says it doesn't have to be this way. I mean, because it doesn't. It can change. You can change. Read the book. Email me questions. I'll answer anything you got to ask about that book. I have the practical experience because I'm going to tell you what. This book is my life story. Right? This is, I wrote that book out of my life and what I did to escape my own victim mindset.
And I'll say that again, anyone who likes the messages that take 2 minutes or anything they heard here should check out the book because the book aligns well with a similar purpose that Take 2 Minutes was built for. So if you like anything you've heard here, definitely check this out. I very much enjoyed reading it and I appreciate you talking about it today.
Yeah, it's really my pleasure, man. I there's something I like to talk about the most. It's me, right? So that's perfect. That's all human beings. We all love talking about ourselves. So that's great, right?
We do.
Thanks for having me today, Mark. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Thanks for your time, Jamie.
Cool.
Thanks for listening. I hope you found that discussion helpful and interesting. If there are any topics you would like to hear discussed, head over to take2minutes.org and use the Contact Us form to submit your suggestions. Also, if you appreciate our content, sign up for an account at take2minutes.org. Subscriptions help us to continue generating new content. Thanks again.